Well, good morning. All of you are here, I'm here, and the presence of the Lord is here. And I want to begin this morning with reading a couple of passages just to prepare our hearts to enter into the Lord. The psalmist writes in Psalms 100 and verse 4 and 5, if you're taking notes, it says, enter into his gates with thanksgiving. Why gates? Because a king is very fond of his gates and his courts. So it's enter into his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful to the Lord and bless his holy name. For the Lord is good, his mercy endures forever. His mercy endures forever. There's never a time when God won't be merciful to you. But it doesn't mean because we know that we get familiar with God's grace. Then he goes on to say, for the Lord is good and his mercy endures forever, and his truth endures to all generations. Then I read from you Isaiah chapter 60 and verse 18, these words. Violence shall no more or no longer be heard in your land. That is something we need to decree and to declare. That violence will no longer be heard in your land, neither wasting nor destruction within your borders. But you shall call your walls salvation. Now, have you ever thought about slapping your walls at home and declaring that these walls will be walls of salvation? These walls will be walls of deliverance. Sometimes you just need to go over and slap the wall and declare that these walls, when people walk through my gates of my home, will be walls of deliverance. There'll be walls of rescue. There'll be walls of healing. Sometimes you just need to go over there and slap the wall and declare when people come through my home, they won't bring strife. They won't bring division. When they come through my home, they'll find the joy of the Lord. They'll sense the presence of God in my home. Sometimes you just need to slap the wall and declare that these walls will be walls of salvation. Let me finish the passage. Violence shall no longer be heard in your land. My wife and I declare that over the city of Rockford, over the city of Chicago, and over the state of Illinois, that violence will no longer be heard in this stand and this land. Neither wasting nor destruction within our borders. Ain't you tired of high taxes? We got people leaving our states because they're taxing us. We got people leaving our states because they have taken our jobs away. And so sometimes we just need to open our mouth. You know, we just take everything sitting down, and you're the most powerful people on the planet. And we just sit down and let them tell us anything. Sometimes you need to stand up and use the power that Jesus Christ placed inside of you. It's the power to open your mouth and speak. So this is what he says, neither wasting nor destruction within our borders, but you shall call the wall salvation and the gates praise. When my daughter called me, she wasn't living underneath my gates, neither within my walls. So she chose to live in somebody else's gates and underneath somebody else's walls. And so when she called me, she remembered the sweetness of being at home. She remembered the sweetness of her grandpa's words that raised her. You see, she remembered the power of the word that her grandpa walked in. She remembered the power of the God that always delivered her. So when she hit a hard time, I said, sometimes you just need to go over and slapped the wall. So I told her on the phone this morning, honey, you just need to go over and slap the walls and speak to it. She says, Papa, you don't understand. I said, no, you don't understand. You want to talk about the problem. I'm trying to give you the solution. So we're going to enter into the gates of praise. Every time you walk through those doors, you're going to declare that at the gates of praise. And we're going to step onto the courts of the Lord. And we're going to give him thanksgiving. And we're going to tell him how great he is and how mighty he is. And when we get ready to leave out of this parking lot, we're going to drive out of this parking lot and declare violence will no longer be heard in the streets of this city. Violence will no longer be heard in this land. Violence and destruction will no longer seize the state of Illinois. Why don't you stand to your feet and let's praise the Lord.